The session was about inclusive business and how that could be used to promote food security. Actually establishing a link between research and policy is it's both easy and quite difficult. Of course, there are different interests. I think the main thing is creating opportunities for dialogue. That's basically what the key thing you can do. What is to be avoided, that is, I think, is that you have one question generated, for instance, by policy, handed over to researchers who then go about their business and then only report back ages later. When you design some sort of a model for a more or less continuous dialogue, that's not every week, but at regular intervals, then you get a more fruitful interaction in which both are feeding each other. And while most people will agree on, say, the desirability of this, it's actually not so very easy to realize, because all of us have agenda problems. You have pressure on meeting deadlines, and that usually gets into the way of more long-term things like this. But I think that is the most conducive model in which the two can team up. Who's the owner of this process? In principle, both should see the interest and should contribute to it. I do think that organizations like here NWO and the Food and Business Knowledge Platform, in this case, have a clear catalyst role. Yeah, the difficulty to bring the two together is also that, of course, the objectives of the type of organizations is not the same. As an academic, you are assessed on your publications, and quite often they cannot just consist of more mundane questions, at times mundane, and that feeds into specific policy programs. So you're playing chess then on two different chessboards. The problem, again, from the other side for a policymaker is that you have sometimes rather specific questions on how to approach a certain problem, specific information needs that do not necessarily align with the sort of things that an academic type of research program can immediately answer. Hence also that I would propose a more dialogue in which you sort of influence each other. That's, well, co-learning, very fashionable, I'm afraid, but also something I think that has value in this issue. I think one important stakeholder group is not so much present, and that's the private sector. There's quite some interest within the private sector for responsible business, also more inclusive type of approaches. We should also be realistic that in many cases it's not the cheapest way of operating, and it means you do have to face some additional startup costs that sometimes need policy support, subsidies, incentive schemes to be realized. I'll give a modest answer. The main message for me now is to keep talking with different groups and to proceed with this dialogue. I think that is. It's modest, it's not a world-shattering type of conclusion, but I think it's the surest way forward to move towards success.